Hello everybody, my name is Khaled Siddiqui, and in this video I'm going to teach you the active track recording with your DJI drone. That I'm using a DJI Mavic 2 Pro, but this is basically on all Mavics and newer models such as DJI Phantom 4 Pro and DJI Air, all of them. Basically, this is the way you do it. Now, active track recording will allow you to produce Hollywood style, very professional, standard videos that would, the viewer will be amazed to see how this was shot when it's just a question of pressing a couple of buttons on your remote control in order to achieve this. So this is for beginners, because I'm sure advanced users already know these things. So I'm going through the basics and teaching you how to do it. So I'm going to be showing the actual scene and the screen of the remote control scene. I'm using a smart remote controller, but even if you're using your standard remote control with your cell phone, the procedure is the same. So it's the same way to do it. And I have one for pedestrian mode and one for the vehicle mode, which shows you both how to do that. And yeah, basically, so let's look at it and see. Hopefully you will learn a thing or two about how to do this. Okay, so we click on the remote icon on the left, and then we click on active track to the right. We are given 3 choices: trace, profile, spotlight. First we'll try trace. With trace, you have to tap or draw where you are, and the drone will simply follow you wherever you go. The drone will try to keep you in the center of the screen, and if you run away, the drone will follow you. If you walk towards the drone will go in reverse to keep you in the center of the screen. Should you run faster than the drone can go, like in a vehicle, the drone will not be able to catch up and it will lose you. So you have to go as fast as the drone can go. If you enter restricted airspace, the drone will stop and it will not follow you anymore, just as it happened to me. Now I'm going to teach you how to make the drone go around you 360 degrees in circles while keeping you in the center of the screen. You see the white circle? You put your finger on that white circle and you slide it to the right or left depending where you want the drone to start the rotation. If you wanted to start the rotation towards the right, you slide it to the right, as I am going to be doing that right now. So I'm going in a place where the drone has enough room to go in circles around me, because you have to be very careful that if there are trees or anything, even though it has a voiding system, it's still dangerous. So now I'm asking the drone to go in circles at 100% speed. Now you could reduce it to any percentage you want. If you choose 50%, the drone will go around you at a slower speed. If you choose 100%, it goes at faster speed. However, if you look the icon slow, if you can change that to the fast, it will be a lot faster circular rotation. If you're walking forward, the drone will continue to make circles around you even as you're walking forward. So that is something very interesting and very hard to accomplish, because this is not a circular motion, this is a spring motion, because it's going around and it's also moving forward with you as it is going around. This time I'm going to draw a box. I drew a box and then I tap go, and the drone is basically doing the same thing it was doing before when I tapped the center of where I was. So now my whole profile is like a box or a shape that the drone will follow. Now, if there are other people next to me, the drone sometimes loses the tracking system because it gets confused with other people. Now, what I'm showing you is rotation, tracing at when you're walking towards the drone. Notice the drone is going away from me as I'm approaching and walking towards the drone. Now, I'm not controlling anything. If you look at my fingers, I'm not controlling the remote control. The drone is doing this all by itself automatically. Now I'm going to test the drone elevation in a slope ground. See, on the side there's a hill, on the left the ground level is lower. I want to know if the drone, when it is following me, will it maintain its height based on the land distance or GPS elevation. And I realized that at this point it kept its height based on the land. It didn't get closer to the land. However, when I make circular rotation at the slope area, when the land is a slope, the circular rotation will be a constant height based on GPS signals, not ground. Meaning, as the drone gets to the higher level, gets closer to the ground. As the drone gets to the slope lower level, it gets further away from the ground. So the drone is keeping its altitude constant, regardless of the ground beneath it. However, when it's following you, it will keep its elevation constant based on the ground. So if let's say you're climbing a rock or a mountain, it's not going to crash into that mountain. It will keep its constant height from you, and it will keep raising its elevation as you climb higher and higher and higher. But in circular motion, it will keep its elevation constant, and it gets closer to the ground and further away from the ground as it goes in circles. Okay, now I'm going to teach you something completely different. When you want the drone to go in circles, if the arc is smaller, the circle arc, even at fast speed, which is red, I just pushed the fast speed, the rotation will be much slower because the arc is smaller. Basically, what does this mean? This means that the drone cannot make a very sharp circular turns. It has to have much longer arc in order to make a complete circle. When the turn is so sharp turn that it has to make smaller circles, it will go much slower. And as you can see, even when I'm walking, it still tries to keep up with the circular motion around me. However, the circular motion will be much slower even at fast speed, because it's keeping up at such a sharp turn, circular turn. It's very difficult for the drone. Okay, now we will try spotlight. Spotlight, the drone will not move. The drone will be stationary. It will stay in a constant spot and simply point the camera towards you wherever you go. So watch what happens at this point. You have to draw a box around you, and the drone will simply point the camera at you without moving. It's stationary. It's not moving anywhere. So if I walk further away from the drone, it will simply lose me because it's not told to follow me. It's simply, I'm going in circles so that the drone doesn't lose me. But watch as I go further away. Still keeps up with me as long as my shape is recognizable against the background. Like I said before, if it's a very, very crowded environment with a lot of people, it will lose you. It will lose track of you because there will be too many similar shapes for it to distinguish you from the rest or from the background. Now what we are doing is we are using profile. Profile is basically it will try to keep at the angle that you are. For example, watch, it's something that you need to see. As I'm going to the right or to the left, it tries to keep up with me from the angle that I told it to keep. So if I were to come closer to the drone, it will go away in order to keep the same visual angle. Now, with the human beings, this is not very differentiable. But if you have a car and you make a turn, if you tell the drone to film your vehicle from the side, and you make a turn, the drone will rush. When you make a turn, the side of your vehicle will be on a different side. The back will be towards the drone. So the drone will immediately catch up to keep up with the side view of the vehicle. So that's what the profile tracing means. Okay, now we are using completely different method. We are using point of interest method to go in circles around a palm tree. However, notice there are other palm trees in the vicinity of this palm tree, which makes it very difficult, and most likely the drone will lose the target. But let's give this a try to see what happens. In the beginning, we are doing fine. We're doing fine. It's doing fine. But notice now it's the background is green, the palm tree is green. It kind of went haywire. It has no idea what it's doing. I mean, it's keeping up the circular rotation, but notice the palm tree is no longer in the center of the screen. So for you to go in circles around a point of interest, like let's say an Eiffel Tower or something else, you have to make sure there aren't adjacent buildings or towers or trees that are similar to this, because it will confuse the drone and it will lose the actual target point of interest. Okay, now let's look at the real footage, not from the remote control perspective, but the real footage shot by the drone from these circular rotations, which gives you much more colorful image without any menu items on the screen. So this is the circular rotation. And now I'm walking at the same time as it's going in circles. Now we are going from a green grass to dry desert. I will demonstrate this in a vehicle. Notice it's following my car at a very high altitude and it's still not losing trace. Why is it not losing trace? Because there aren't any other vehicles around. If there would have been some other car around me, there is no way I could make the drone follow my car from such a high elevation where my car literally looks like a dot. Because this is a dirt road, I came to this dirt road intentionally so that there aren't any cars behind me tailgating me or any other cars crossing, so that I could film this. I had to travel for miles, nearly for an hour, to get to this place in order to shoot this. And as you can see, I'm not going too fast because the drone cannot keep up with me. I'm only going around 15-20 miles per hour, if that, and the drone is easily keeping up with me without any difficulty. This is something at this time the drone's sensors are all active. Even the front, forward, back, inside sensors are active when you're doing active track, because it's trying to prevent it from hitting anything, hitting trees, rocks, or anything else. So right now, basically, it's complete autopilot and the drone is following the vehicle. Now, notice how the sun is reflecting off of the vehicle. That is not helping the drone. And those are the things that will actually cause the active track to lose the tracking system, and basically once the tracking system is lost, the drone will stand still wherever it is, and you will get a message on the remote control that the tracking was lost, and then you have to manually control the drone, bring it closer, or whatever you have to do in order to regain control. One more thing you need to keep in mind: when you're doing active tracking, you have to have plenty of battery. Currently I'm running at 65% battery, which is safe. However, if the battery drops below 35, that's the time you need to bring your drone back, because when the drone is using active tracking, it uses more battery. Why? Because all the sensors are at work. All the sensors are basically, every sensor is another electrical consumption load on the battery. So that's why you have to be careful and not drain the battery to the last point where you cannot even retrieve your drone. Now I'm going to demonstrate how something as simple as a tree shadow will be the cause of my drone losing track. Notice as I'm approaching the tree, there's a tree and the shadow of which is on the road, and as soon as I cross that shadow, the tracking will be lost, because that will be too much for the drone to bear. It will be too much information, too much confusion of imagery overlapping each other, the vehicle and the shadow and all that. And there you go. The tracking is lost, the vehicle is gone, and the drone has no idea what to do. This is the time that I take the control in my hand and bring the drone closer to the vehicle. Okay, now the drone re-engaged in active tracking mode to my vehicle, but another car comes at a really high speed. Let's see if it will lose the track to that car. Okay, the car is about to approach. It's getting very close, and there the car went. And the drone did not lose the tracking. So that's a good sign. When a vehicle is at a complete difference of speed, the drone will not lose the track. But if that vehicle would have gone at the same speed as I was going, it would definitely make the drone confused, and it would probably lose the tracking of my vehicle. So at this point, the battery is at 52%. I'm going slower at 6 to 8 miles per hour. And now I'm going at 16, 17. And the drone is keeping up. Even though the vehicle is way far away, you could see it's still catching up with it. And the vehicle literally looks like a dot, but because there aren't any other cars or any other shapes similar to my car, the drone has no problem keeping up with it. But if you are in a city block, like in middle of a road or a city street or a busy road with multiple vehicles, this footage or this filming wouldn't be possible. In situation as such, in like city roads and streets, you have to make sure to control your drone manually, because the active tracking will lose very quickly. Remember, a tree shadow was enough for it to go haywire. Imagine what other cars could do. Thank you for watching. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something from this. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.